You guys just haven't, hopefully, no weird alarms going off or anything. Perfect. We do
Ado,
have a
joining
full
us?
house today. Definitely a full house. There's a lot of uncertainty right now
Yeah.
with individuals. Um, we're actually seeing both sides. Like here at Agent Locator, we're seeing two sides of things. Some people are pausing Google. They're keeping services because obviously you want to still nurture your leads, but they're watching how they're spending their money, of course. And then you have people that are actually increasing the amount they're spending, taking advantage of all the people that are pausing. So it's really it's a funny time, really, and it's different everywhere, right?
Yes.
Some provinces, some states, they're all acting and responding differently. So a lot of people are just like, what do we really do in these kind of situations to be able to move forward, really?
So I want to make sure that everyone knows where the chat is on their screen so that we can utilize the chat um, and be able to moderate, since it's going to kind of be open Q&A. I'm more than willing to, just I got a lot of information I can just go in on, because
Yeah.
when Ado and I were emailing, I'm like, I totally understand and respect where he's coming from, and then when he's coming back and like shooting scripts, and I'm like, no, it's not about the scripting.
No, well, and it's about the care and attention. It's a great opportunity right now for everyone to build relationships, add some sense of security, bring something positive for them to look forward to. Because they're all, it may put things at a standstill temporarily, but they'll keep moving. Life will keep moving. I'm looking on websites. There's a ton of active listings still going up, right?
Yeah.
It's nothing has hit us like instantly to a point where everything's just come to a halt. But it's the unknown that I think is scary
Well,
for
that's what I was wondering, because Ado made a comment about, them ceasing showings. What is the latest in Canada as far as showings being concerned?
they're allowed to show homes as far as they're instructed to limit your social gatherings. Not needless to say, like I think everywhere they're kind of doing that. Agents are just being very cautious. And it's different in Canada. So one thing that I've noticed just doing this in the United States, the process is a little bit different, where a lot of those homes are vacant. So the person who owns that house that's selling it, isn't such a big deal if someone's walking through the house because they're not occupying it. Whereas in Canada, the majority of the listings still are owner occupied. So that is definitely where people, I don't know where these people have been. I don't want them in my house touching, surfaces and what have you. So everyone, I imagine, is different. Has anyone in here, if you want to use in the chat, have you guys come across any situations where your sellers are like not letting anyone in, that kind of scenario, or what their take back is on that?
Okay, discuss with sellers what they feel comfortable with. Condo showings are definitely down because of elevators, etc. I didn't even think about elevators. I live in a condo.
Yeah. You're like,
Sellers don't want buyers in their home, and buyers are nervous, canceling and suspending listings, shorter viewing appointment time. And this is going to happen. As I was telling Ado yesterday, this is the first time in at least my history of knowledge that the entire world has been affected globally. And I look at this from a space of, I'm so glad that I get to experience this moment in history, because for the first time ever, to my knowledge, we are all created as one right now. We're all in oneness because we are all experiencing, no matter what country you're in, no matter what race, no matter what you speak, no matter what anything, we're all experiencing the same problem. And with that, we all individually, though, are experiencing different emotions, and they're emotions that some may have never felt before. I know myself, I'm experiencing emotions I've never felt before. And what happens in those moments when we have feelings that we are unaware of, that is what causes the fear, because we're not in control of what we're feeling right now. And when we're not in control of what we're feeling right now, that's what causes the panic. So what we have to do as leaders is understand that and know that these are absolutely just trying times that we don't have control over. And when we lose control over anything, that's what scares us the most. And I look at this industry in large and say, I'm thankful for the people that are in real estate right now, because you're in a moment that you have an opportunity to really stand above and be a leader. Because those who get it and give themselves permission to really feel how they're feeling and say, you know what, this sucks. I'm scared shitless and I don't know what the hell to do. But I don't want that fear to win. Because if we let that fear win, we all lose. And life can't stop just because we're in panic mode. We have to learn how to still be okay feeling fear and being and moving forward. I think our whole lives we've been taught that we're weak if we're fearful. We're weak if we're angry. We're weak if we're sad. That we're always supposed to be striving to be happy and joyful. Well, yeah, that's all well and good, but we can't change what we think and we can't change what our emotions are feeling. So all we can do is be okay with how we're feeling and get through it and say, okay, why am I really feeling like this? What is really going on inside me? And how can I be the change right now? What can I do to make that difference? And with the, oh my gosh, it's the, what can I? And when I look at the leads, just sitting there thinking, they have more time on their hands now than ever to research what's on the internet. So people are right now really trying to determine what their priorities are in life. They're trying to realize, do I like not being able to go out to dinner? Do I like not being able to be at functions? And what I think is going to happen over time is I think people are going to start to realize the things that we were attached to in our day-to-day lives are no longer going to be part of our habits moving forward, because now we're forced to create new habits. But while we're going through all of this, to not call your leads, in my opinion, is really going to detract away from what's really going on. I had a great conversation. I have one of my just favorite clients is in Breckenridge, Colorado, and I'm working his dashboard right now. And I'm going to tell you, I have had better conversations over this last week than I've had in a very long time, because what I said earlier, we all have a common ground right now. We're all feeling those fears. We're all feeling the fear of unknown. We actually now have something to be able to relate to on a global basis, not just in a market basis with these people. So this is the time where we can really make an impact in our business. I always say we wake up every day unemployed. Well, what we're doing today is where we're going to be in 60 to 90 days. Right now is the time to take your business and really pull in the reins and figure out what's serving your greater good and really focus on what's going on and have empathy for your sellers, have empathy for the buyers. Because trust me, they're more scared than you. They put their house they put their home on the market for a reason. And it's up to us to get them through it. So we have to rise above it and help them through it and help them through their fears. And if we're fearful, we're not helping them through it. So all of our sellers that don't want showings, we have to find out what their real pain is. Is their pain greater to not sell their home, or is their pain that they don't want showings right now? You know, it's like, what is it really? We have to have that empathy and put yourself in their shoes. If your home was on the market and you didn't have the knowledge that you have in real estate, how would you feel right now if you had to sell your house because of a job relocation? And now that job relocation's on hold because now that company's laying off. My suggestion is we have to have a come to Jesus with every one of our sellers or every one of our potential sellers that are coming on the market or wanted to come on the market, and just ask them, hey, I know this is really trying times, and I know we're all in fear. I just want to have this conversation with you and ask you what is going through your mind? Because we can sit back and assume all day long. But we have to find out where they're coming from, because everyone accepts fear differently. And, you know, I always say our thoughts come out through our actions and our reactions. So if they're mad at you, it's not you. And we really have to step back and not take this personal. And it's going to be hard not to, because we're vulnerable right now. So it's going to be really hard not to take it personally. But the most important thing is asking them, what is most important for you right now in this time? In my opinion, you being on the market is really a benefit because, you know, if you can get your sellers to rise above the fear and help them through it and walk them through it and help them to understand that it's kind of like moving into the harsh winter seasons. Nobody wants to be on the market during the holidays. Mm-hmm. But I always tell people, be on the market during the holidays, because when people have to buy, they have to buy. So if you're on the market right now, the people that have to buy, your chances of selling are going to be much greater, because I think we're going to see a reduction in inventory for sure. Absolutely. So there's really no script. It's just learning how to ask those questions. So what are the questions you're going to ask your seller? You're going to ask them how they're feeling, what their biggest fear is, and how you can help them move past it and move forward. If there was a way I could fix this problem for you, do you want me to try and fix this? Because this is going to force us to be creative, guys. And, you know, right now, just thinking about when I was in production, my overseas clients that weren't available to see homes in my market, what did I do? I myself went into the house and did a FaceTime with them. So technically, you don't need your buyers to go with you. You can go in and do FaceTime, and you can do a 360 in a room, have them ask questions, take pictures of certain things. This is, in my opinion, going to change the game. It's going to change your game in real estate and how you're going to be working with your clients. So if you could offer to your sellers, you know, if you really don't want buyers in there, me as your listing agent, I can come in and do a tour virtually. And you can post that on YouTube and send it to the agents that want to see your home. So there's virtual ways to get around this, but you just have to talk to your sellers and find out what it is that they really want. So I'm going to pause a second, because I know there's stuff popping up in the chat, and yeah. You've probably been reading it. So go ahead and spout out.
Yeah, so we just, I guess the script was from Tracy. One individual, sorry, I'm just moving my mouse over. So basically, a lot of leads are skeptic because of the fear of what the price dropping dramatically like it did in 2008 in the United States. So obviously we can't predict what the future has to hold. But what for people, I guess, in your experience with dealing with these individuals, a lot of people I imagine are, well, the market might crash, the market might drop, so I'm going to hold off. Or they're paranoid about moving forward, that fear of moving forward, because what if it does crash and I just bought my home at X amount of dollars, and then, you know, 6 months from now, it's a fraction of that. Like, how would you handle a situation like that, where there's that fear of making the move forward because of what might happen with home prices?
Can we bring someone on in role play. And I know Tracy's like, no script? No, Tracy, no script. I'm going to say no script because it's all about questions. That's your script, or the questions. And, you know, to really answer your question, agree with them because they're not wrong. They're not wrong. And when someone's urgency isn't high, you're not going to change their mind. And we're not there to change their mind. We have to get out of appointment set mode. We have to get out of, I have to sell you a house mode right now, and go into what can I do to help you so that I have a business in 3 or 4 or 5 months. Now is the time to build your pipeline, because we can't make anybody move if they don't have to move. But what we have to do is get down to finding what their pain is. You know, and I sit back and I look at this in my own life. I'm sure every single person on this webinar today was going to go buy something over the last couple of weeks, or was going to schedule a trip over the last couple of weeks, that have not done it. They chose not to purchase it, unless it was toilet paper. They chose not to purchase it. I had to add some humor. They chose not to purchase it, or they chose not to go, because the urgency became not so urgent, because the pain of not having something or not going somewhere was not as great as the pain of just not having it. So I'd rather just not have it or not go than move forward with something that I'm too fearful for. And that's exactly the way our clients are right now.
I think a lot of us have had adjustments. I've had 3.
Oh, yeah.
I've had 3.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, all this positivity coming my way. And then it was just like, now it's on the back burner.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well,
it's
I was just getting ready to relaunch everything.
Yeah.
So I've been out for basically a year. I'm rebranding, I'm relaunching things. Then I was just getting ready to relaunch, and bam, I'm like, okay, let's make lemonade. We got this. Is there anybody that we can bring on, Crystal?
Sorry?
Is there anybody that we can bring on for role play? Does anybody want to volunteer?
Anyone want to volunteer? You can raise your hand.
I want to know your problems. Bring them. Let's solve them. Let's solve all the world's problems. Yes. John.
So Tracy will. Tracy Erickson. So I'm going to allow Tracy to talk. So Tracy, when you turn your microphone on, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Good to go.
Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right.
Tracy.
Hey.
Tracy says, cut the bullshit. Let's get to some business.
Thanks very much for holding this, guys. I just really appreciate that you're doing this. It was, when I saw it pop up, it made me feel, because I've been asking these questions for days. What do I say to not? I know what to say to the folks. Well, I don't never know really what to say, but I know how to talk to my current clients that I've built a relationship with, and getting the sense of their comfort level. Okay. And same with my sellers. But so my stumbling block right now is calling brand new people, and who I haven't established a relationship with, and the sorts of things I should say, and being sensitive to the issues. Like you kind of go, right? You kind of go back and forth. Is this rude? Is this, you know what I mean? And then so the psychological part, how do I have confidence when I call these folks that are new potential customers?
Yeah.
That's the sort of direction that I was sort of hoping we could talk about.
Absolutely, Tracy. And I think what you're saying is going through everybody's mind right now. It went through my mind before I picked up the phone to make these phone calls. We can't help it but to come across our mind, because we never want to come across as being salesy, right? And now we really feel salesy because it's like, I don't want to promote my business, right?
Right, because there's the stuff in the back of your mind where you're saying like, oh my gosh, I got to pay the bills. But I must be sensitive to the situation, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, Jody, I love it. Yeah, she said, just, you know, we think of ourselves as ambulance chasers.
Right, yeah.
And, you know, it's that reality of we can't change our thoughts. All we can do is think the thoughts, give ourselves permission to be okay thinking it, yet getting out of the appointment mindset, getting out of I'm going to sell this person mindset, and really what you're thinking right now, because I want to know how to help you through this time. So if you will think of,
Sorry, you're pausing. We lost you.
Yeah, it looks like Beverly is cut off there for a second. Maybe she's gonna come back in a bit.
yeah,
Oh,
I
there
hope
she is.
so. Are we
Awesome.
good?
You're
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
Okay. They lied to me when they said that they fixed the whole internet in my building. It's still glitchy. Am I back?
You are. Yep.
Okay. So Tracy, I just want you to really.
Oh my gosh, we keep losing you. Oh dear.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a. I'm not sure if do we know, is she on Wi-Fi or is she plugged in? There, Bev's back. You're back, Bev.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now.
Okay. No, they're working today. They were working on my building and said we would be out of internet for an hour. And I had
Okay.
internet up. I called them at 1:30 and they're like, they're going to be done at 2. I'm like, okay, cool. Obviously they're not. Am I back?
Yeah, we can perfectly hear you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So take 3. Tracy, I'm going to be coming to you from a perspective of empathy, right? I, as my agent, as an agent, I have to get out of my head, right? I have to ignore the thoughts that I'm thinking of being salesy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna ring you. Tracy, ring.
Okay. Hello.
Tracy?
Hi.
Hey, Tracy. Hey, Tracy, it's Beverly. I saw that you've been online and you were looking at some homes in Toronto. Just wondered what's going on right now with you.
Well, I was thinking of purchasing my very first home, which is a very big investment for me. So I'm a first-time home buyer. And some of the concerns I have are within this time of uncertainty, will I, number one, get a better deal during this time with less people being out? Is number one. 2, should I be going into people's homes and looking at homes? 3, with the situation with the stock market, will there and the banks, will my deal close? What if I lose my job in the interim? So those are the sorts of thoughts that I'm having.
I wish every call went like this. So Tracy, I can honestly tell you, I don't know. And, just being 100% honest with you, let me just ask you a question and we'll get into the questions that you asked me. What is the reason for your move? So is this your first purchase? Are you in a rental situation right now?
Yeah, I rent right now. And I really, I've been gearing up over the past few months to make this purchase.
Okay.
I'm a little upset because this is all happening in the time that it was my time.
Right? Yeah.
I've been
So is
gearing
your
up.
rent, Tracy, are you month to month or are you in a lease term?
I'm in a month to month.
Okay, thank goodness.
I'm ready to get going.
I'm sitting here palpitating going, oh my gosh, this could be like a real life situation, right? Where you're in a lease term. What's going to happen?
But the other thing is I've got my down payment in mutual funds, which are going down every day. Now, Tracy or Beverly, you as the real estate specialist, should I take my money out of RRSPs and turn them into cash?
Woo.
I'm scared of the market.
I don't go there. So here's what I'm gonna tell you, Tracy. This is awesome, by the way, because this is a real life conversation. Tracy, here's my suggestion. We have to find what is going to be in your best interest overall, not just for right now, but for the future as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we need to know right now is you're in a month to month, so it's not like you have to move right now, right?
Right.
Okay, so we've solved that problem. You won't be homeless. The second thing that we have to figure out is what price point are you comfortable with in a mortgage per month? Are there homes currently on the market that will meet your expectations? Because that's ultimately what's going to make a deal happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I don't know, what you asked before, yes, we are seeing inventory decrease, and we are having some sellers taking their homes off of the market. So potentially, yes, you might be able to get a good deal, but I don't know, because this is all so new to everybody and everybody's in disarray. And I don't think anybody really knows what's going on.
Yeah.
So, and I totally get your funds, because if they're going down and like where's your money going to be better positioned, right? And those are the things that we don't know the answer to, but all we can do is really go through the motions and see what's most important to you. So first of all, have you talked to somebody as far as a price point that's going to keep you comfortable with a mortgage payment and how much you have to put down?
So I have been approved for a mortgage,
Okay.
right? But of course, because I'm being approved for a mortgage in under like a condo town type situation, and condo towns can have varying monthly fees. So right, so those all are aspects: property taxes, condo fees. Those are all aspects to think about in the purchase.
Absolutely.
I guess
So you have a comfortable mortgage payment that you know you want to establish, right?
Yes.
And what sales price did they approve you for?
$500,000, 500.
Okay. As you've been looking on the internet in the $500,000 range, are you seeing homes that meet your expectations?
Yes, they are. Yeah, there are homes out there.
Okay.
That yeah.
So what I'm going to do right now is just kind of end the role play and kind of review this, because the most important thing going through this conversation is finding out what your needs are and finding out what is most important for you in protecting that investment. Because if it's genuinely, Tracy, not a good time for you to buy, I'm not going to sit here and make you buy, and I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you, yes, it's a great time to buy right now. Let's get in a car and go, because there's a ton of homes on the market, or there's no homes on the market, you're going to get a deal. Be honest with them and say, I don't know. This is so new. I don't know.
Okay, so yeah, so I see where you're coming from. Like and that's the truth. We don't know. We're not we can't get them into we know and here, so make a decision. So this is a nurturing conversation. This is a gathering information conversation.
Creating a connection. Creating a connection, being very upfront with them. I think where Beverly's going with this is to say, listen, we really don't know. However, I could promise you that when I do find out, when the markets start changing, I will give you all the info. I have all the info because I have access to the MLS system and I can see everything that's going on. So the moment that things change, just like I'm being very upfront with you now, I'll be very upfront with you later on as well. And that's that connection. You know, as Beverly was saying, I was reading one of the things that she actually sent me. I'm gonna say this again because it's so I was blown away when I read this, when I talked to Beverly about doing this actual webinar and trying to figure out what do we say to our clients. And Beverly sent me this. She said, it's about the thoughts in our head right now and getting out of the appointment mindset. So it's not about the appointment mindset. Life can't stop. It's about creating solutions. If we don't take advantages of being creative, fear wins. It's not about scripting. It's an empathy and care. So truly what we're trying to do here is, obviously we cannot sell them at this very moment, but we can sell them down the road. But this moment is that connection that we're going to be able to create that pipeline down the road. Because
sorry, I think I go into, like you were saying, I go into conversations in a problem solving mode. You know what I mean? I'm going to, you know what I mean? They give me some of the information. I'm going to problem solve because, like, before we had all this uncertainty, I could know A, B, C, D. Now I don't know any of those, right? So I'm I think I was so afraid to talk to people because I'm so used to just problem solving.
I think it's okay to say no.
Solve their problems.
It's okay to say I don't know. It's okay to say I really don't know.
And the truth is, Tracy, it's really making us vulnerable to say we don't know. We don't like to say we don't know.
No.
Yeah, right? And that's where our fear comes from, because then it makes us feel like we don't know what the hell we're doing.
Right. It's scary. Yeah. You go, well, I'm supposed to be the one that solves your problem. I'm a realtor.
Yeah, but it's also not genuine. It's also not genuine if we really think about it, because we truly don't know. Even as experts, we really don't know the effects of that it's going to have in the market. But at least I'm going to be very honest with you. The fact that you're looking to buy now at the price range that you're looking to buy, even if the prices drop, they're actually still going to be able to buy and should be able to buy, because if they were able to buy at a much higher price, they should be able to buy even at a lower price.
Right.
So creating that connection and keeping it as much as possible. And the prices might not even drop. We might not really see anything, but we really don't know. None of us know at the moment. And I think it's completely okay to say that.
Yeah. So it's
why it's
sort of
always
nurturing.
So important to find out what, if they're going to wait for prices to drop, they don't have an urgency. In my opinion, this is a twofold benefit to calling our leads now. People love vulnerability, and they will relate to you much easier now if you make yourself vulnerable. And B, we can really show our value by being vulnerable, and we can get their urgency more now than ever.
Absolutely.
It makes lead calling, in my opinion, easier now than it was before. Nothing's really changed, because I've always said, don't be attached to the appointment, be attached to their story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Makes a lot of sense. I know there was a comment, and Tracy, thank you so much. I really appreciate your
pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
We have we'd love to get any other inputs. And sorry for being late, Beverly. I was in a coaching call just before, and I couldn't end
Run
it.
over.
And I joined this coaching group where they coach, and it's SaaS, different companies, software as a service companies, and we're talking about different ways that other companies have done really well and what they're doing in this current scope of the world and what's happening with right now. And I think most of the companies that are doing anything they're doing well, it's about talking to their clients and figuring out what can we do together, how can we help, how can we all figure out, because none of us know any of it, but I think together we can figure out, look at the positive things in life, look at the there's so much negativity right now going around, being shared across social media, across the media, across everything. Every conversation we have is almost a negative conversation. So if we can bring any kind of light to their day, where we actually talk about positives, even whatever they may be, and at the same time give them any information that we can and be honest with them up front. So there was a comment here by Norma. We don't know, but a lot of people have bought and have to sell. A lot of listings still coming up every day, so that's definitely common. From all the people that are listening right now, we have 87 on the Zoom meeting, and then we were able to share it in our AgentLocator clients group as well. What are you guys seeing? Like, what is the number one issue that you guys are facing right now? If you could just comment and say, what is the issue you're facing, and then how do we get around it? If we can figure out a way together, how do we get around those issues? I mean, obviously we know that we can't sell right now because that's the market that we're in, and that's the market that the entire world is in.
Gore just said that about interest rates being at like historical lows, that, that's fueling the market. So we kind of have this quagmire going on right now where people are like, oh my gosh, and they're probably like, Murphy's Law, things come down. But, reality is, we just got to look at the positives in this and go with the positives. And so Ado, before you came on, that there was a lot of on the seller side that they're afraid, sellers are afraid to put it on a market. They don't want people in their homes.
So I do have in the question and answer, so a real life situation from Cleona here. She has someone say, can you guarantee that I will be able to sell my house if I found a home to move into? I know the market has changed, but I expect my agent to be able to sell my home. It's a true life conversation. What would a response be to that?
This is a scenario where the buyer is ready to sell their home, buyer is ready to buy their home. They want they found a home they want, but they're scared they won't be able to sell their own home.
Exactly.
No guarantees. We can't make those guarantees. And this is where your value is going to show up, because if you make yourself vulnerable and you really care about them and you're honest with them, they're going to appreciate that. And, you know, all we can do, like Tracy said, is just, we got to go into problem solving mode. And
I think potentially maybe what we could do is, in order to really not lose the client and get the client, why not take the listing on an exclusive and put it on the market exclusively, so it's not on the MLS, it's not sitting there, you know, stagnant, but we at least get that business immediately, so we can get them in and get them into the pipeline, so that when the market starts to pick back up, we can add it onto MLS and start looking for a home. So don't look to buy first. Don't obviously. Sorry, go ahead.
Can you be contingent on? Now, what was another? I thought the question was, if they put their home on the market, would they be able to find a home?
No. Their question is, they're ready to buy. They're ready to buy. They found a home they love, but they're scared to buy because they're not sure if they're going to be able to sell their home. So because of that uncertainty right now, because we obviously cannot guarantee the fact that they're going to be able to sell their home, it would make sense that, you know, I want to capture the business as best possible. Let's say, why don't we put your house in the market first? We'll put it not on the MLS because right now it's not a good idea because of the situation. We'll put it on an exclusive. If we can find a buyer, great. If not, when it makes sense for us to put it on the MLS, we'll add it onto MLS. We'll see what kind of interest we have. But at least you're kind of getting that client at least somehow.
Yeah, I would absolutely still take the listing and encourage them to go on the market, because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And so if they were to get an offer, you can be contingent on them finding a home.
So Cleona mentioned that she already asked that. She doesn't want to list without, you know, list without selling. I guess
list without buying.
First. Yeah, buying. She already tried to get her to sell.
Well, even in a normal market, that's not realistic. So we have to determine, is it an excuse or is it an objection? And that is an excuse. That is not an objection. That's an excuse. And you got to get to the root of, no matter what market you're in, you can't guarantee that their perfect home is going to be on the market whenever they get a contract on their home. So why do they need to move? Why do they want to move? It sounds like their desire to move is not great enough.
So another individual marked here that they have buyers that are still ready to go look at houses, but the agent themselves doesn't feel comfortable in those situations with everything going on.
The buyer agent doesn't feel comfortable taking the buyers?
Out right now with everything that's going on. They kind of like would rather, you know, probably not be, you know, as out in public and in public spaces, meeting with people at this point in time, but the buyer seems to have no issue with it. How do you how would you handle that? Like, without
if you don't want to do it, refer to somebody that will. I mean, it's, again, life isn't going to stop. I mean, even in my condo, the fire inspectors, we have to have a fire inspection every year, and it's next week. And they can't stop it because it has to be done this month in March. So, and then everyone's like, well, how are these people, how are the inspectors going to be walking in my house or walking in the condo? Yeah. So they are literally changing their footy boots with every condo they're walking into, and they're wearing gloves. They're changing their boots and then changing their gloves. So if you're being safe and smart, it's the flu. I mean, I don't want to downplay this because it is a really, really big deal. But if you are taking care of yourself and you are taking care of the situation, if buyers have to buy,
Beverly, I don't think we can say that. Beverly, I don't think we can say those.
I'm not telling you to tell them that. I'm telling you this is your mindset. Because
it is a novel virus, and we really do not know.
I'm not telling you to tell them that.
Okay.
What I'm asking you to do is mindset. Because if buyers are going to buy, if you're not going to take them out, somebody's going to. So what's more painful, losing a buyer or not taking them to go see a property? I mean, what's more painful here? We can't stop life with the fear of just getting sick. And I mean, statistics, even still looking at the common flu, there's more deaths with the common flu than there is.
No, Beverly, we can't talk about that because we can't compare this to the flu.
I understand that, Tracy, but this is why people are falling into fear. Because they're overthinking everything that's going on, and
I think it's a very hard answer. Yeah,
refer it out. I mean, that's the easiest answer is refer it out if you don't want to go.
So if the question was, if I have a buyer that's ready to buy, but I'm not comfortable taking him out, then, if there's an agent, if the showings are still happening, and if there are agents that are willing to do that, and if there's a risk potential on it, then I guess referring it out to somebody else that actually, that's the only way that you're gonna be able to give your client what it is that they're looking for, if that's what they want.
It's not about you.
Right.
It's about the client. It's what's in the best interest of the client.
If that's what they want, right?
If that's what they want, if they want to go see a property and the property is available to be seen, we have to make that determination. Are we doing what's best for our client? And if we're not able to do what's best for our client, somebody else should.
Yeah.
And then just refer it out. And that's what I said, everyone's fears are very different, and everyone's dealing with this in a very different way. And I'm not asking anybody to change their fears or change how they feel. I'm just asking to take a check of what's more important to you and what's more fearful.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, from a perspective of how serious this virus is, it is a very serious virus. We have to all take very seriously what the governments are telling us to do, and how we need to create that separation and do what we need to do to. Yeah, there's no question there from that perspective. One other thing that we have to keep in mind, though, is that the more negativity that we're exposed to, the worse it's going to be inside of our head on how we feel about this, and how this actually comes across to us. Even though it is bad, it is not, we need to make sure that we follow the instructions of what they're telling us. But at the same time, one of the things that we should try to do is expose ourselves less to the negativity that's out there, to the media, because you know what, at the end of the day, what I don't have control over, I cannot change. If I can't control that situation, I cannot change that situation. So that is the one thing that I'm going to say. What I've done on my phone is I've deleted the Apple News app from my phone completely, because it kept popping up news stories. Yeah, the notifications that were coming in, absolutely. If it's a must know for me, I'm going to listen to the updates that my government is giving me. I'm going to listen to the updates they're providing me. I'm going to follow their direction. I'm going to follow the guidance of those experts, because they're feeding them. Those experts are feeding them. But I choose to stay away from the news right now, because I did it for 3 days and I couldn't handle myself. It was just impossible. And I can tell you that over the last 3 days now, over the last 2 days, I've stopped that aspect of it. And I feel so much better. Situation hasn't changed at all outside of what's happening. It's still the same, but in my own head and in my own feeling and how I feel, it has gotten a lot better from that perspective. So, if we can't control it, let's obviously not expose ourselves to what we can't, we don't have to expose ourselves to. So that's,
I talked about that earlier, as far as when we don't have control of something, Ado, that's when we get fearful, because it is an unknown. So
awesome.
as we were all talking, my mind was sitting there thinking, I'm back in the lead mode of leads in our database. I had, and this is going to prove a point. I had a crown crack and I had to go and get it replaced. They put a temporary crown on a few weeks ago. I left to go out of town. It's been 3 weeks since then the temporary cracked and they had to replace the temporary. So I go out of town. I was scheduled to get the permanent put on yesterday, and they are now closed for 2 weeks. So I still can't chew on the right side of my mouth, and I couldn't get in until April 1st. Well, when they called to cancel, they left me a voicemail and said they were rescheduling everything. I had a choice in that moment to be angry or to be empathetic to all of the appointments that this company had to reschedule. When I called back, I got the voicemail. My first thought was, oh shit, I'm not leaving a voicemail, because you're gonna have a ton of voicemails. I left a voicemail and I said, Laura, I am so sorry. I have to leave this voicemail. I missed your call when you called to reschedule my appointment. I really hope you're having an amazing day. I know this is probably a workload that you all weren't expecting, and just take a breath and it'll be okay. And you can get me on the schedule whenever you can. I got the cancellation. She called me the next morning and she says, Bev, I thank you so much for that voicemail. It meant the world to me.
Yep.
And everybody knows I'm anti-voicemail. Everybody knows I'm anti-voicemail. I'm going to retract that in times like this. Exactly what Ado was saying. We need to be the light, and you are in this industry right now for a reason. And you have people that you can make a difference in their lives right now. And you have a dashboard full of them. If you can just call and leave a pleasant, friendly voicemail, it can really speak volumes to someone's day, because they're really tired of hearing the news and they're really tired of hearing the negativity. It's on Facebook. Make me laugh. Put up a funny post, right?
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. There's so much of it. I mean, we have to try to stay away from it as much as possible. What I'd love to do, guys, is I'm having these coaching sessions every single day now, where we're sitting down with, 50 other businesses across the United States and Canada and Europe and everywhere else. And we're talking every day, trying to figure out ways, how are we helping our clients? And I want to try to do the same with you guys. I want to try to figure out a way to maybe do a webinar every couple of days, where we talk about and discuss what are we doing to help our clients, what are the positive things that we're doing to help our clients. We know the things that we can't do, and we know the things that we can do. Those are all absolutely, they make sense. But I want to talk to people of positive stories of how are we helping our clients right now in this climate. We all, again, know what we can and what we cannot do. And we don't need to cross those boundaries in any way, shape, or form to make it, whatever it's not. But let's talk about what can we do from a positive perspective, not from a negative perspective. There's enough negativity to go around. We want to stay away from that as much as possible. So I'm going to work with Crystal to schedule this. We're also working on creating other webinars that are going to help. We have over the next couple of weeks, most likely, where we're not going to really be able to do much work from an outside perspective. So what can we do on our backends? What can we do on our CRM systems to clean up our database, to really get prepared for that push that we're going to have when things go back to normal? And know that I'm now in this coaching session and these coaching companies, over 50 companies that are all sorts of different levels, where we are at much bigger companies, and they're all talking about the same thing. They're not talking about the opportunity that they have right now. They're talking about the opportunity that's going to come when all of this ends.
Yes.
Because when this ends, and when the world comes back to life again, and when we start to get back to work again, is when we can actually shine on all those connections and all those opportunities that we made during this period of time. And that's what we should bang on, and that's what we should try to go after. So let's work towards figuring out what can we do to create those opportunities, so that when we're ready for that. So Crystal, we'll figure out webinars. We'll give you guys dates. We'll try to stream them on our AgentLocator clients group. We did try earlier from the beginning, but we couldn't stream it for some reason. When I joined on, we were able to kind of stream it onto the AgentLocator clients group as well. And then again, any suggestions that you guys have in terms of what you think we should be giving you more of, please let us know. We'll create tutorials on how to do advertising, maybe not right now, but when it's all ends, and how to do Facebook ads and whatever it may be. Give us suggestions of what you guys want to hear from us and what it is that you guys want us to do. So that would be on that side for me.
We are
thank you guys
looking
for listening.
to do that one hopefully on Friday with respect to the CRM cleanup, more or less. We're just figuring out the minor details, but nonetheless, you guys will all know when that is, posting the links and everything in the Facebook group, as well as I like to blast everyone as well an email, and that way you guys are all prepared and able to join and have enough notice to be there and participate.
Awesome.
And Lucia had a comment in here. I just want to bring, she says she has 2 new listings this week. Her clients already purchased their home. Wonder if it's best to wait for the weeks to pass. So I'm a little confused on the question, Lucia. You have 2 new listings this week. My clients already purchased their home. Are your clients one of those listings? I wonder if it's best for them. I wonder if it's best to wait for this weeks to pass. So I'm not sure if they already purchased a home, is it better for them to go on the market in weeks to pass? And this is where we have to be clear with our clients on what their wants and needs are.
Maybe ask this question in AgentLocator clients group, and then let's get the other agents kind of the suggestions and what they would do in these situations. We can help each other from that perspective by actually using that group. It is a closed group, so it's not public. So you can kind of feel free to ask the question there. And that might be, you know, because it's so market dependent. Every market is a little bit different right now.
Exactly.
So maybe ask that question there and we can try to get to it from that perspective. There was another question. Can you assist us with doing webinars for our clients through the AL system? So similar webinars to what we're doing here, we're using Zoom. And Zoom has actually stepped up incredibly well as a company. They've offered their services for free. And I don't know 100% if it's free for all or free for only educational purposes. I believe it's educational purposes only, but you could get a webinar system hooked up through Zoom. There's also Webinar Ninja, that's another one. There are a few different webinar software services that you can do. You could also go live on Facebook. Facebook has this completely free. You don't need to use Zoom like we're using here. You can go live on Facebook and then get your clients into a session, help answering questions. Judy says Zoom meetings are free for 40 minutes. So that's very good to know. If you guys are looking to do that, that's something that you could do. And if I don't know, I would love to get some ideas. Again, we can do it in the AgentLocator clients group, what you could host. What kind of message do you put out to your clients, and what kind of webinar do you have? Because it's live, we have to remember it is raw. You're going to hear some stuff from your clients that you're not going to be able to control, obviously. So just keep that in mind, and let's get out there and do what we got to do.
Yeah,
because we can't stop doing what we got to do.
Time, just like you said, to build your pipeline and not be in a commission breath conversation with these leads, and just really have compassion for what their situation is. And I always say nothing's changed today from calling your leads than it was even a month ago. It's our main objective is to hear their story and figure out where we fit into the story.
Build a relationship.
Talking, you're going to be able to develop and build a relationship, in my opinion, better now, because everyone's relating to everybody.
That is the common thing that we have right now, which is the situation that we're all in, and we're all in it together, and none of us are experts. None of us know any of it, and again, it's okay to say that you don't know, and it actually just makes you more humanized. And the fact that you don't know, and being upfront with them and telling them that when I do know, I will 100% be the one telling you that, and I'll share all the information because I see it live in the MLS system. I'll let you know when things change and when it might make more sense to list or buy or whatever it may be.
Well, and I'm sure now all the leads in your databases are really curious about what's going to be happening with the market. So now's the time for you to really be tracking the market and what's happening with the listings and what you're seeing.
And that could be
on market.
That could be one of the things that we call about. That could be to say, hey, listen, I'm not calling to get you to buy and sell right now. I know the market is not for that right now. However, if you're curious to fully understand the market, let me know. I'll put you on my list that gets an update every 2 weeks, or every week I'll send you an update of what's happening in the market. And they're actually voluntarily accepting that. That's, we've all been looking for a newsletter to send out to our clients constantly. This could be one of those things where I'm calling you, hey, if you've been curious about what's happening in the market, let me know. I will give you a rundown. Here's how many listings have come out. Here's how many have sold. Here's how many have not, because they're all curious. I'm curious. The listings that are coming out on my streets and in my community, are they actually selling or not? I mean, I know if they're not, but they will be curious as well from that perspective. So that is something that might work well from.
And Cindy, I'm going to say, do what you're comfortable with. Do what the government is telling you to do, and educate your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tracy asked, can I type up a script that it was good? Crystal, would you be able to go back into the recording and kind of, and
I know what I said.
I know what I said, but it's like, I know every time I say it different. So the first time when I say it, it's always the best.
Yeah.
Thank God for recordings.
I can painfully watch your recording, and
you can go back and skip. Come on.
Oh yes, I can
God,
definitely try to find that little clip.
Well, it's going to be at about 56 minutes in. So
yeah.
yes, 56 minutes in, we'll be able to find it. Yeah.
We have a few minutes. Does anybody have any questions about things they should be saying to their leads when they're making their phone calls?
I had one person said that he has no problem speaking to them the first time around. He's getting through that. It's what he's saying the second or third or fourth, like the reason why he's calling. Because now it's like if things are at a standstill, it's not like he's checking in to see how their home search is coming along. I guess it would be more checking in to see how they're doing, bring something positive perhaps that you can enlighten them with, and then
all
more
the
or less
pre-qualifying, but all the pre-qualifying questions that Beverly asks help us understand how we should follow up. And if he's not certain about what he should do in the follow-up call, he hasn't asked all the questions. He hasn't gotten all the answers that he needs. So, I mean, we have a list of, can we get a list of all the pre-qualifying questions we absolutely have to get from every single lead so that we understand how we should follow up with them? Because if I know their situation, and if I know when they want to buy or why they want to buy, and I know how to follow up with them, I know what I should be telling them. Here is why you should be buying now or why you should be buying now, and I should know all that. So it's pre-qualifying questions that we need.
And at the end of the conversation, asking them, how would you like me to follow up with you? When would you like me to follow up with you? And take good notes, and then And, it really all depends on how that conversation was left. But I always like to end my conversations with, what's the most important thing I can be doing for you? How would you like me to follow up with you? And what would you like to know? And because I hated thinking, oh my God, I got to call this person and I don't know what I'm going to say to him. That's a bad feeling. And it prevents you from making that phone call. So that's why I always start ending my phone calls with, how can I help you? And how do you want me to follow up?
Awesome. It is 2 minutes to 3.
There's a couple of, so somebody's posting the Q&A. Did we go over those?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess in some places you can't, their offices, a lot of brokerages have shut the doors, so they can't even bring prospects in to make them sign anything. There should be DocuSign stuff. Different boards have different rules.
Zoom meetings. Yeah, I mean, do FaceTime. I mean, you can even call and see screen on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, it so depends on the prospect themselves. So if my client wants to buy right now and they found a home they want to buy, I will do my best to figure out how do I get them to buy that home because they want to buy that home. That is what they want. If that's the case that we're in right now, then if you're not doing everything you can to find out how can you get that client to buy that home because that is what they want, then we're not doing our job. We should not be forcing people to buy homes right now. Absolutely, that are fearful themselves because obviously, that's uncertain. We don't know, but if that's what they want, then we should be absolutely doing that for them and figuring out what we can, whatever way. And if you're scared to go out, as Beverly mentioned, find somebody else that might not be, that wants to actually go out, because again, your client wants that. So that's, I think the answer to that question. And I want to reiterate: keep it positive. Stay away from as much as you can from things that you cannot control. And do everything you can to keep your mind positive at this moment, because again, there is going to be so much negativity. A friend of mine, actually, he called me last night. He says, a bottle a day keeps the negativity away. A bottle of wine a day. That's he's a wine drinker and I'm a wine drinker as well. And it's funny that he brings that up and it kind of rhymes. It's interesting, but do whatever you can to try and keep the negative things away. Stay away from the news as much you can. I know I saw a comment from John, I believe earlier. He said that his broker told him that they should only allow 15 minutes of news per day currently. So it's an interesting perspective and interesting way to look at it. So
yeah, I choose meditation, but wine works.
Yeah. And if you guys do come across different situations or something that's a little positive, in the Agent Locator client, share that with everyone so everyone can kind of see, this is what happened, this is how I handle it, and this is the outcome. And then because everyone could benefit, we're all in it together. And really, we all want each other, uplift each other, stay as positive as we can during these times.
We have to do whatever we can to keep it positive and keep the conversation flowing. And let's keep the chat going. So we'll end it here, guys. Thank you all so much. Beverly, Crystal, I'm sorry for being late. I was trying to get educated so I can educate as much as possible as well. And we're on this together. Let's figure out how to get out of it with the best mindset possible, and you know, get ready for the market when it does come and pick back up. So we'll leave it at that, and we'll post here when we can have more of these, and go from there. Thank you all so much.
So Adam, sorry, you were going to sorry, like there was going to be sort of sessions going forward we talked about earlier, is that right?
Yes. So what my plan is we want to do maybe a session every couple of days where we get on a live call and talk about what's happening in the market, talk about what are the good things that we're doing for our clients, how are we staying positive, how are we clearing our mind of the gutter. So anything positive, everything that we can share that makes sense, because again, in the market that we're in, we understand there's a lot of negativity, there's a lot of things that we can't do, but let's concentrate on the things that we can do right now. What can I do right now to help myself and help myself with a mindset, and then also help myself to go out and kill it when I can kill it. That's what I want to talk about, and that's what I want to share. And we don't know I don't know the exact dates, but what I'd like to do is Crystal and I are going to have a chat, and we're going to figure out the times. I'm going to make myself available. We'll get Crystal on there as well, and then we'll get you guys, and hopefully we can maybe get Beverly as well, and we can jump on these calls and chat together.
Sound good?
Great. Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for joining in. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in a few days.
Thanks,
All
guys.
right. Bye, guys. Have a good one.